On March 19th, Iranian ballistic missiles struck the Ras Laffan industrial city in Qatar, the largest natural gas facility on Earth, supplying about one-fifth of the world's natural gas exports. Iran launched 5 missiles. Qatar intercepted 4, but 1 got through. Qatar Energy confirmed fires and extensive damage to the complex. This attack was a direct retaliation. Hours earlier, Israeli warplanes had hit Iran's largest gas reserves in a strike coordinated with and approved by the Trump administration. Iran watched its gas infrastructure burn and responded by striking Qatar's facilities. Following this, Trump released a statement claiming Israel acted out of anger, that the United States had no knowledge of the attack, and that Qatar was not involved. However, 2 officials confirmed Washington had approved the strike. The very attack Washington allegedly authorized was later denied by them. In the next few minutes, I will break down exactly what happened at Ras Laffan, how Israel escalated this war beyond control, and the implications for oil and gas prices right now. Before launching the missiles, Iran had already warned the world of the impending strikes. The IRGC published a target list including energy facilities in Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE, clearly stating these sites would be targeted within hours and urging immediate evacuation. They followed through on this threat. Ras Laffan had already been offline since March 2nd, after earlier Iranian drone strikes forced Qatar to halt all gas production. That shutdown alone caused European gas prices to surge by 50% overnight. Now, on top of being offline, the facility suffered structural damage that cannot be fixed by simply flipping a switch. Every day of physical damage adds months to repair time. Qatar's gas output, which accounts for 1/5 of global supply, is not coming back anytime soon. Qatar responded with its harshest diplomatic move of the war, declaring Iranian military and security personnel persona non grata and giving them 24 hours to leave. The official statement described the strike as a blatant violation of sovereignty and a direct threat to national security, reserving Qatar's right to self-defense under international law. Trump's statement went even further, threatening that if Iran strikes Qatar's gas facility again, the United States will, with or without Israel, massively destroy the entire South Pars gas field at a level of devastation Iran has never seen. This is the U.S. president publicly threatening to obliterate the largest gas reserve on the planet, which sits directly above a shared deposit with Qatar, the very country he claims to protect. Hours after Ras Laffan was hit, Abu Dhabi shut down the Habshan gas facility and the Bab oil field after debris from intercepted Iranian missiles fell on both sites, with no injuries reported. Habshan is critical as it is the starting point of the 248-mile Abu Dhabi crude oil pipeline, the only export route bypassing the Strait of Hormuz, handling an estimated 1.5 million barrels per day. When Habshan goes offline, the bypass shuts down too. Iran also struck Saudi Arabia's eastern province, home to the kingdom's major oil fields. Earlier in the war, Saudi Aramco's Ras Tanura refinery was hit and temporarily closed, but Reuters reported it reopened on March 13th. On March 18th, Iran either struck or attempted to strike targets in Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE, while other Gulf states remained on high alert. The UAE Ministry of Defense reported intercepting 10 ballistic missiles and 45 drones from Iran the previous day. 5 countries were hit in a single day, the world's largest LNG facility extensively damaged, the UAE's Hormuz bypass threatened, and Saudi refining capacity offline. But the real question is why Iran escalated to this level on that particular day. To understand, we must look at the 48 hours prior, which explain everything. On March 17th, Israeli airstrikes killed Ali Larijani, secretary of Iran's Supreme National Security Council, one of the most powerful surviving officials after Israel assassinated Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei on February 28th, the war's opening day. Larijani managed the fight against Israel and coordinated Iran's security buys, wielding vast influence within Iran's political, clerical, and security institutions. He was a veteran power broker, former nuclear negotiator with the West, and ex-Speaker of Parliament. If anyone inside Tehran had the authority and relationships to negotiate a ceasefire with Washington, it was Larijani. Israel also killed Brigadier General Golreza Soleimani, commander of Iran's besieged paramilitary force, alongside Larijani. Iran's Supreme National Security Council confirmed both deaths. Larijani's son, office head, and several guards also died in the same strike. Netanyahu publicly celebrated Larijani's killing. That same day, Trump said he did not know who to negotiate with inside Iran. The U.S. claimed no negotiating partner existed, while simultaneously aiding the assassination of the only officials with the stature and backing to be that partner. Analysts say Israel has sought to drag the U.S. into full war with Iran for over 20 years, aiming to prolong the conflict and eliminate any potential diplomatic off-ramps. Operational facts support this. 3 of the 4 most senior Iranian officials killed were linked directly to the civilian government. Less than 24 hours later, Israel struck again, killing Iranian intelligence minister Asail Khatib in a precision airstrike in Tehran. Israel's policy is clear. No one in Iran has immunity. Everyone is a target. Khatib had a $10 million U.S. bounty on his head, and Iran later confirmed his death. Thousands flooded Tehran's Revolution Square for Larijani and Soleimani's funeral, chanting demands for retaliation. Iran's new supreme leader, Mujtaba Khamenei, Ali Khamenei's son, vowed that every drop of spilled blood would be paid by the murderers, an order for revenge cloaked in religious language. Retaliation went beyond missile strikes. On the morning of March 18th, the Israeli Air Force hit natural gas processing facilities at South Pars and Asaluye in Iran's Bushehr province, the first strike on Iranian gas infrastructure in the war. South Pars produces about 75% of Iran's total gas output and is the largest gas reserve on the planet. Crucially, it is connected underground to Qatar's North Field, sharing the same deposit. Axios reported the strike was coordinated with the White House, and the Wall Street Journal said Trump knew and supported, though Trump later denied U.S. involvement. The stated rationale was to signal what could come if Iran continued to choke the Strait of Hormuz. Trump posted on social media, "We are rapidly putting them out of business." Yet the real calculation was more cynical. The Trump administration had previously blocked strikes on Iranian oil infrastructure due to fear of price spikes, but gas was seen as less risky. That bet was wrong within hours. Iran's Ministry of Petroleum confirmed damage to multiple facilities, with gas tanks and refinery parts hit, workers evacuated, and fires controlled. The downstream impact was immediate. Iranian gas flows to Iraq were cut off, and Iran supplies 30 to 40% of Iraq's electricity and gas. Baghdad's power now depends directly on Israeli targeting decisions. Qatar's foreign ministry condemned the South Pars strike, not out of solidarity with Tehran, but because South Pars extends Qatar's North Field. They called the attack dangerous and irresponsible, threatening global energy security, regional peoples, and the environment. Russia also condemned the strike, noting South Pars sits near Iran's Bushehr nuclear plant, which Russia built and helps operate. Here is the key point, seldom framed correctly. South Pars and Northfield are the same gas formation, sharing an underground reservoir beneath the Persian Gulf. Iran extracts from the north side, Qatar extracts from the south. On March 18th, Israel bombed Iran's extraction point, and hours later, Iran bombed Qatar's processing point. Both ends of the same gas deposit were attacked on the same day by opposing sides of the same war. Qatar condemned both attacks. This is Qatar's position, its shared gas field damaged by Israel, its security partner from the north, and its processing facility destroyed by Iran, its neighbor sharing the field. No country has been placed in worse energy position by a single day of conflict since the war began. Many think this is just Iran and Israel trading blows, but in reality, the entire Persian Gulf energy infrastructure is being dismantled from 2 directions simultaneously, with no repair efforts while missiles still fly. The economic fallout from this single day of strikes is where the real damage lies. Brent crude is up over $18 per barrel, nearly 50% higher than before the war. WTI hovers near $100, and U.S. diesel prices have crossed $5 per gallon for the first time since 2022's inflation surge. The Federal Reserve held interest rates on March 18th, citing elevated uncertainty due to the war. U.S. producers' prices are rising at the fastest pace in 7 months. European gas futures surged 50% when Qatar halted production on March 2nd, and Asian LNG prices jumped 39% the same day. After the South Pars and Ras Laffan strikes, European gas climbed another 6%. Many believe the Strait of Hormuz is blocked by Iranian warships. In reality, Iran shut it down with a few drone strikes and let the insurance industry do the rest. Shipping through Hormuz has sharply declined, with hundreds of vessels halted or anchored in and around the Gulf, stranding about 20,000 seafarers as security worsened. No insurer means no transit. The world's most powerful navy cannot force Lloyd's of London to issue policies. Iran didn't need a blockade. It weaponized commercial risk aversion. A few inexpensive drones and burning tankers caused the global shipping industry to stop voluntarily. Trump called for a naval coalition, including China, Japan, South Korea, France, and the UK. Germany formally refused participation as long as the war continues. Greece said no, and UK Prime Minister Starmer vowed to not be drawn into the wider conflict. No country joined. The International Energy Agency released 400 million barrels from emergency reserves, enough for 20 days of normal Hormuz flow or 4 days of total global consumption. The U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserve held about 415 million barrels pre-war, with a maximum drawdown rate of 4.4 million barrels per day, and it takes 13 days for oil to reach U.S. markets after order. On March 18th, the Treasury eased sanctions on Venezuela, allowing U.S. companies to buy from its state oil firm. Iraq struck a deal with Kurdish authorities to transport 250,000 barrels per day through a pipeline to Turkey. Saudi Arabia rerouted some crude through Red Sea pipelines. These are stopgap measures, not solutions. Beyond fuel, the Strait of Hormuz carries a share of LNG used as feedstock for nitrogen-based fertilizers, which grow staple grains providing over 40% of global caloric intake. India invoked emergency powers to protect 333 million households dependent on LPG. The UN's humanitarian chief, Tom Fletcher, warned millions are at risk if cargo cannot safely pass through the strait. This is not just an energy crisis, it's a looming food crisis. CENTCOM confirmed striking over 90 Iranian military targets on Karg Island while preserving oil infrastructure. On March 18th, U.S. forces used multiple 5,000-pound bunker buster bombs on fortified Iranian missile sites along the Hormuz coast. The Pentagon requested over $200 billion in war funding from Congress. 6 American airmen died in a KC-135 crash. Their dignified transfer was held at Dover on March 18th. Meanwhile, Joe Kent, director of the National Counterterrorism Center and longtime Trump ally, resigned over the war, citing Disraeli pressure. U.S. intelligence chief Tulsi Gabbard informed Congress that Iran's government is degraded but intact. Tehran and its proxies remain capable of striking U.S. bases and interests across the region. Iranian Foreign Minister Araki addressed the assassinations directly, stating Iran's political structure is strong and a single individual's presence or absence does not affect it. Whether this is true remains the central unanswered question of the war. Iran has lost its supreme leader, top security coordinator, Basij commander, and intelligence minister within 19 days. Araki says the system keeps running, but outside analysts cannot confirm who is making targeting decisions now, who controls escalation authority, or if the civilian government and IRGC still operate on the same plan. The war is 19 days old and accelerating. No ceasefire framework exists, no back channel is confirmed, and those with standing to negotiate are being buried in Tehran. The question no involved government can answer today is not who is winning, but whether anyone in authority has a plan for how this ends, based on reality, not the public narratives they provide. Thank you for watching. I truly appreciate your support. Please share your thoughts in the comments. Who do you think is winning the war? Do you believe the conflict is spiraling out of control? Let me know. Please subscribe and like the video to stay updated, and click the video on screen to watch another.